Hey friends! Welcome to Come and See with H&H.
My name is Harpreet.
My name's Hazel.
My name is Mika.
My name is Matthew.
As you guys could tell, we have two different and new voices on the channel. And these are our wonderful friends, Matthew and Mika Klinsman, who got married last October. So congrats! Yes. Yay! So this video is a continuation of our last video, the love series, and we're going to be really honing in onto the Eros love.
Yeah. So, Valentine's Day is coming up, guys. And
yes,
you
it
guys
is.
just got married. So, what are you guys doing this Valentine's Day?
I don't know.
Plug your ears. Plug them.
Yeah, like just,
Okay.
I'm taking her to her favorite stores.
What?
I think they heard it. I don't know if you guys heard it.
I don't think I heard.
Can you not hear anything?
If I like
what do
hum
you
in
go
the
like
back.
this? What do you go like this?
Okay, if I like hum, well, okay, I might hum.
Just hum.
I'm taking her to her favorite stores.
Oh, that's cute.
Okay, we're done. Wow, I really didn't hear
That is
anything.
not
I was like, if she heard that, I gotta make like a whole new plan now.
Oh my god.
I love it. That's so funny.
I have no idea what it is. I really don't know.
Are you doing anything for Matthew for Valentine's Day?
Come on, Mika.
I was thinking about that. I was like, is it the guy that kind
Just
of
like-
plans everything? Because like I don't have anything planned.
So actually, funny story. The first Valentine's Day we had, she came to me like a week and a half before, and she was like, "Hey, what are we doing?" I was like,
What?
I don't know yet. And she was like, "You don't love me. Like you don't even have a plan.
Not say that.
We're like 2 weeks out. You
what
don't
I
have a
said
plan."
was, so am I your Valentine?
Oh, no.
Yeah, yeah. So I
don't
can't. I
know.
surprised
You
her.
didn't tell me if I'm your Valentine.
I didn't, to be fair. I said, "What? How long was that?
How long was what?
How long was it before?
Oh, it was like
It's
a
like-
week and a half.
Week and a half?
Yeah, and I was like,
That's like a well, whatever. But so I printed up I don't even know what to call it, a little packet with like an itinerary
oh my gosh, Hazel
of like
was
what we
there.
were gonna do. Yeah, you were there. Yeah, you were there. So yeah, I think I was wearing like a fedora hat.
No,
I don't know
yeah.
what I was
You were
wearing
wearing
that
it.
day.
You were being a
Yeah.
mailman,
That's
like,
right.
delivering a
That's right.
letter
Yes, I
of the
remember.
That's right.
plan that I wanted.
And I was sitting
Yeah.
there like, that was cute. So one
Funny
of the
story.
first questions we got was, what do you do as a single gal or guy on Valentine's Day? So do you guys have anything?
I'm not single.
Okay, yeah, you guys. Okay, Harpreet.
I would say I would take myself out for
Period.
Valentine's Day.
Period.
Actually, this year I'm taking Hazel out, so Hazel's my date.
I mean,
There you
We're
go.
each other's dates.
Nice.
So, you guys
Yeah.
remembered, a Christian godly friendships leads to Christian godly standards. I
Mm.
said that in one of my videos.
Period. Yeah, I think something you can do, I think oftentimes we just think about our significant others, like how can I love my significant other? But you can ask yourself, how do you love your friends? How do you love your family? How do you love people that need love during Valentine's Day? And my dear friend Mika, last year for Valentine's Day, threw a Galentine's Day party for our girlfriends that were like, I think all the other girls were single. What's that do?
We do it every year. So when we started it, it was just me and Hazel,
Yeah.
and we were just single. And
No, you were dating. You and Matthew were dating.
Oh,
So
okay,
I
you know
wasn't
what?
your Valentine.
I
was
had
a gal.
short notice. I started making other Valentine's Day plans.
Ayo!
But
That actually is true.
so
I remember that.
I think we planned it before Matthew and I got together. Something like that, because then I remember I brought you like KFC and we got like flowers and we watched like a rom
Like, To All the
com.
Boys I Loved Before or something.
Yes.
That was so cute.
And then the next year we're like, let's do it again.
Valentine's
Invite
Day.
more people. And
Yeah.
so like as the years have gone by and more people get taken
Yes.
or become single, then it's like
And it was so much fun.
all the
just-
eras.
Yeah. We just got to celebrate each other and dress really cute, take pictures, whatever. So, I mean, if you're single on Valentine's Day, go do stuff with your girlfriends and it'll be so much fun. You know, take yourself out on a date, pour into those that need love around you.
Yeah.
So.
Guys, creativity matters more than money.
Oh, dang!
Remember that.
Right.
True.
Y'all out here scared? I'm scared too. But be creative. You'll be okay.
What are you scared about, Matthew?
The loss of money. The
Oh.
sheer financial loss.
I'm picking
But
up.
if you're creative, you don't have to.
There you
Yeah,
go.
Spend as
I
much
mean, I
money.
don't care. I don't care how much money it is, honestly.
That's
Just wanna
good.
feel special.
Cool.
That is cute.
Well, how did you guys meet? I know you guys kind of shared a little bit, but like maybe a quick recap. How you guys met, fell in love.
Quick. Okay, quick.
She was like quick.
We met at Jessup, so we go to a Christian university. Hazel was my only friend for a very long time until Hazel made more friends. I just didn't make more friends. I was just like very introverted. But Hazel was my friend, and so she threw a Christmas party, and then she needed someone to lead Christmas carols or like Christmas worship. So she knew that Matthew could play guitar, and she knew that I could sing. And then so I didn't know him at all, but she like paired us together to lead worship that day. And then after that, he just kept coming up.
I know.
I couldn't like get rid of him. Like I was on prayer team, he was there. I was what else? We did a biblical Greek class. He was there.
Bible study.
We did Bible study over the summer. He was there. He actually talked me into it. And then what else? I remember there was like drama in our friend group once, and there had to be like some people like to mediate some reconciliation.
It's very convenient that I was around her so much. It was intentional.
Well, because we're always on the same page. So like I was always seeking clarity, and he'd be the one there. We were always seeking to make peace, and then he'd be the one there. We were going to lead worship, and then you would be there. So it's always just kind of there. Yeah. So
I love that.
Yeah, I think the Bible study was really like crucial for us like getting to know each other, especially like getting to know each other's theology. You know, I've wanted to go into ministry for probably like 6 years. And so like getting to know her in that setting was like, oh shoot, like you believe the same things I do. And I think we both kind of had this passion of like, and maybe even like a little bit of animosity toward like nominal Christianity, you know, like Christians who are lukewarm. And so I think we both saw that and we're like, yo, like we're bought in, we're both bought in. At least for me, I was like, she's bought in. Yeah. I know I'm bought in. So, and that's, maybe we'll talk about that later more. But,
that's awesome. Jesus was the firm foundation.
Yeah.
Right in the beginning. I love that.
We met in Greek. Like how biblical can you get?
I love that. That's awesome. So our second question is, what were you guys kind of looking for in someone, or what are you looking for in someone?
what am I looking for? In someone?
Oh, that's for me.
That's
okay.
You better not be looking for something. You better not have an answer to that
She's
question.
like, I already found the one.
Oh my gosh.
I think for me, the Bible piece was probably the biggest, but then I think the second, I'm in the by the Bible piece, meaning
In the Bible, yes.
yeah, right. Like not even just that she read, because anyone can read the Bible, right? Anyone can read, go to church, and know these things, but to know that she had, and like I said, the Bible study, it showed me that she had a vested interest in learning more about the scriptures and like really diving in. And so, yeah, there were some things there that I was like, she's not just operating on the surface, she's going under, which is, you know, the goal for everyone. But yeah, I would say that. And then I think just someone I could have fun with. That happened pretty quickly. So what were you looking for? And did you find it?
Did you find it?
No comment. No, I definitely did. So, yeah, same thing for me. I mean, the Bible element, just, I would say like being theologically aligned, just because I know he wants to go into ministry. And so that would be so awkward if you marry a pastor and then you like down the road are going to his church and disagree with something and then you like can't leave the church because he's your husband and he's not going to leave with you. So, yeah, I was my main concern just because I knew you were going into ministry. So I wanted someone that I felt like, not just like basic, had a deep understanding of the gospel that was like bottom line, but then more so I wanted someone that I felt like I could align with on every theological topic, just because that's really important to me. And I don't think it needs to like be like that.
She was very thorough.
Yeah.
Which Bible study helped you guys kind of figure that out?
Exactly. And I think
like, Matthew, what's your thought on this, you know?
Yeah, and because I think that was like God's kindness to me, because I don't think every Christian couple needs that. I mean, as long as you're saved and bearing fruit, it's gonna work. But for me, I was like really like, okay, like it needs to be. Right. I would feel a lot more comfortable if we align on all the topics. And so we literally went through the whole New Testament together in that Bible study with Hazel, actually.
We were the last three left. We started how many people? Like 7 or 8 people.
I still have the video of us. We all sent a video summary on the last point. I think because our semester had started, we didn't have time to actually meet. So we're like, okay, guys, just record a video summarizing like Revelation 3.
So we got
I was watching that the other day.
Yeah, we got all the way through Revelation 3 or 4.
Yeah.
It's pretty far.
From
3 months.
the beginning of the New Testament all the way to Revelation.
Go us.
I think another big piece theologically was like our view of men and women,
Yeah.
our view of
That
marriage,
was good.
because
That was a big
there's
one.
diverse views.
Right.
I think you should know what is this person's expectation or belief around the roles of men and women.
Yeah.
Do men and
Yeah.
women have roles?
Right.
Is it just interchangeable?
Yeah.
You should definitely know that. And I think we
Yeah.
You're pretty
Rules in marriage,
aligned.
Yeah.
biblical manhood, biblical womanhood,
Yeah.
homosexuality. What's your stance on that? You know, can women be pastors? All that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I love that because I feel like a big thing we have to ask ourselves before we ask ourselves what we're looking for in someone is ask ourselves what is our mission, right? And so it's like if your mission is to be a millionaire, right, by the age of 35, you're going to look for a spouse that's financially smart,
yeah.
that is good at saving money, that is, just is trained himself to be careful with money. So you're looking for someone who fits your mission. In the same way, right, for you guys, your mission is to know Jesus and to help others know Jesus, right? And you're looking for a potential partner that can help you do that, right? And so just knowing your mission, I feel like, will help you kind of figure out what you're looking for in someone.
I had a question for both of you. Did you guys ever feel like at any point that like there were certain things that you like compromised on in your marriage? Like I know you like,
Wait,
you-
compromised on
Yeah,
Compromised.
standards.
marriage?
Sorry,
Like,
standards. Sorry, standards that you guys compromised
Standards that we
on.
compromised
in marriage
on.
or
In general,
Like,
like
as
you
we
date
got to
know each
single,
other.
Like in singleness, you're like, I want this, but then like you guys started dating and then getting married.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? I don't like. That's not something
That's not important.
as important.
Yeah.
I don't think I came in with a long list of standards. It was really just aligning theologically and, like solid understanding of the gospel and seeing that they don't just understand the gospel, but they live it out.
Yeah,
Like they
that's
live
right.
like they've received grace. They live like they understand, Jesus is Lord and they follow his commandments, all of his commandments. And so that was it. I didn't expect to be with a guy that was starting to be a pastor. I didn't expect to be like, we're literally opposites. So
Opposites attract?
Yeah.
We did. What I think to that question, I don't know. I wouldn't use the word compromise, but I would say I changed as we dated. I changed so much. I used to be very, very sensitive, and I think I'm still sensitive. But I think as time went on, why are you laughing?
no comment.
That's a yes. I am still sensitive and oversensitive,
But
but
not like toxic sensitive.
yeah,
Really.
I think when we met, like it was like anything she said that hurt my feelings, it would like tank like our whole week.
Yeah.
And it was,
Yeah.
I think you probably felt like you couldn't be honest. And I think, that was just like a big thing that we had to work through. But coming out of that, it was like I changed because I grew in my ability to kind of brush things off and not be so hurt all the time. And so I think I changed on that. And even like my perspective of Christianity, I think I grew up in some emotionalism, which was unhealthy. And so I think learning that it wasn't always about taking care of someone's emotions, that helped me understand my faith and then kind of pour back into our relationship.
Yeah, that's really good.
I feel like your guys' relationship was really cool as you guys like built each other. Where you were weak, she was strong. Where you were strong, he was.
Hazel had the front row seat for like literally. I think I called you after our first
The
date.
day he asked her out,
Oh,
she
yeah.
called me.
Oh my gosh! While he was asking me out, we were at Jessup. Sorry, that was probably really loud. Sorry, podcasters. But so he's literally like, we're sitting at this table at Jessup, and he's like, "Hey, where are you at? I gotta talk to you." So I sit down. We're sitting at this table talking,
Serious conversation.
and then freaking our friend Ethan just walks up in the middle of it. But the thing is, Ethan knew he was asking me out, and he still chose to walk up in the middle of it. So Ethan didn't care.
And he walks up, and then Hazel walks up. You guys start talking. Ethan texts me. He's like, "Did she say yes?"
During the conversation.
And I gave him a little thumbs up.
And then I was like looking at you with my eyes like, Hazel, go
No, but I could
away,
sense the vibe.
please.
You guys were, I could sense that you guys were having a serious conversation.
Yeah.
But I didn't know
Yeah.
like it was that type of serious.
Yeah, you were
She
just
didn't
like,
know what it was
okay,
yet.
something's going
So
on.
I just came and said hi, hello, and then I could sense the vibes. We're kind of like, and I was like, I'm gonna dip. But Ethan's there, like, oh, so guys, what's up? What's cooking?
Oh my
He
gosh.
just keep going. I'm like,
Oh my gosh.
but
Good times.
that was funny. I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, you guys just complement each other really well. Is what I was gonna say. Like, you don't have to be the exact same as your partner, but you could be like complementary,
Yes.
and I could really see that in
Well,
you guys' relationship.
That like, yeah, you can see that now.
No.
Oh my.
In the beginning, though, it was kind of like, okay, like, for example, I feel like you were pretty good at kind of just telling people as it is.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Matthew tends to be a little bit more, like, kind of careful
Yeah.
in that.
Exactly.
And I feel like now both of you have learned, okay, now you're learning, like, you're more bold. And she's
Yeah.
more like,
Gentle.
how can I be gentle?
Yeah.
And that's, I saw that in our friendship, too, right? Like,
Yeah, I think, I don't know, like in the beginning, it wasn't complimenting at all. It was
Yeah,
actually
sure.
like clashing,
Clashing.
conflict constantly. I remember a specific conversation with my mentor where I was like, we're just so different. I don't know if this could work. And you know when your mentor's like giving you like unbiased advice, she's like, you could stay with him, you could break up, it's up to you. But then I could really see
She didn't want
was
to control
like,
you.
yeah, she didn't want to control me,
Yeah.
but she was kind of like putting on her little like own input.
Yeah,
So
right.
she was like, but the best relationships are when they're opposites. The best relationships are when they complement each other and they can build each other up. And I'm like, yeah, but this isn't working. But anyway, she convinced me. And then we stuck it out. And then slowly it became, I guess, yeah, not compromising, but changing. I'd say like we just kept clashing until we started talking and praying and being humble. And then started, okay, you know, Matthew is really gentle, and that's amazing. And how can I be more gentle in a Christ-like way? And how can he be even more gentle in a Christ-like way?
Yeah, and I feel like even with that, like there was a real possibility and a real option for us to break up.
Yeah.
Like we could have just chosen, hey, you know what? We're so different. This is probably not the best idea.
Yeah.
And we could have gone our separate ways. And that would have been fine.
Yeah.
I mean, the idea of like soulmates and there's one person that you choose someone and you love them. But
I love
What
that.
kept you guys together?
That's a very good question. We talk about this a lot, actually. I'm like, I don't know how we lasted. Because the first 9 months were really
yeah, you weren't even attracted to me.
rough. Hey, okay, whoa. Okay, we're going to get into that later. Hey, keep listening. And you're going to hear about
Store
that.
it here.
Stay
okay?
tuned.
Oh, my, yeah.
Coming back.
We were talking about that. But, wow, you really came free. So, yeah, they were really, really, really rough. Like, probably the hardest time. No, definitely the hardest time of my life.
No, I remember.
Yeah, Hazel was. Yeah, she saw how
Girl,
rough
I
it
was on the roller coaster with her.
A lot of people, like, honestly, I feel like I was getting counsel, and a lot of the people close to me were like, you could just break up with him. Like, you know, or some people were really even urging me, like, dude, end this, you know, like, end this now. This is very difficult. It's taking a toll on both of you. And I don't know what kept us together. I feel like, you know, it'd be valid if you broke up, right? If you're trying and praying, it doesn't work for a while. Like, I feel like that's valid to break up. But I think, this is my own candid opinion, but I feel like we focus so much in Christian dating today with standards and, you know, evaluating someone and, you know, if they don't meet this, and this, we can break up, which, yeah, I think it's important to have your standards. And I'm also going to talk more about that. But if we keep training ourselves to leave if they're missing something or leave if they're lacking or struggling. But I guess what's wrong with that mentality is because if you leave at every hardship, you're not training for marriage. You're training for divorce.
Come on! Come on! Say that one more time for us.
Because then what? If that's how you go about your whole dating process, you keep leaving when things are hard or when they're really lacking in something or you're really lacking in something, you get married, then what? It's just the opposite. You're just supposed to start conditioning yourself to stay, which a lot of people say that, you know, like Jonathan Pokluda is a really popular Bible teacher. That's something he talks about is like dating's a season of evaluation. But that was personally really hard for me to balance is like, and every day I'd be thinking about it. Like, I know I could leave. I know there's standards that aren't being met right now for both of us. But, just the promise, I think that if you're saved, God will sanctify you. That's a lot different than if you're saved, if you put in the work, you're going to grow. No, if you're saved, it's a promise. You have the Holy Spirit. It will change you. The Spirit of God's inside of you, and it's not going to lose to your flesh. It's going to keep sanctifying you over time, and that's a promise. So it's a promise that over time, we're going to get more and more like Christ. It didn't have to stay the way it was. And I think that's really what is the only thing that kind of satisfied me and would, like, give me rest, you know, and, like, staying. And that, and I just wanted to be with him. Yeah. Like, there's some people that are, like, I talk to a lot of people that are Christians and break up, and they're like, I'm like, you know, you could fight for this. Me and Matthew fought for it, and it worked for us, and God will sanctify you both. And they're like, yeah, I think I just don't really want to fight for this person, which is valid, you know. But I think at the end of the day, I really just wanted to fight. So
it reminds me of something you told me, Mika. We actually were having a conversation about this other guy that I was talking to, and you're like, love is a choice, and if the person's not making the choice with you, like, they don't want to be with you, and that's that. And I was like, dang. Like, that stuck with me.
That's so good.
Really
so
good.
What about for you guys? What are you looking for in someone? You guys are both single, as far as I know. Unless something has changed recently. Okay.
I would say for me, I have, like, kind of a list of a standard.
Kind of a list.
Okay, I do have a list. Okay, take that back. I'm saying he's on my list. But I have, like, uncompromisable things. Like, there's certain things I won't compromise on. And it's, like, my views on abortion, my views on vaccines. Like, me and Hazel had a lot of conversations. Like, my political views. I have certain political views that don't align with certain parties. And it's, like, I have these views. I believe these certain things. And on, like, the major things about, like, life and things that are going to, like, dictate life or death, like, I'm not going to compromise on those standards. Good. But, like, if he's not tall, if he's not X, Y, and Z, I'm like, whatever. Like, you know, like, you know better than me in that. But it's like, if he has to be a Christian. Like, there's no other way. And he has to be a stronger leader than me because I feel like I naturally am a leader. And so, like, there's those things I won't compromise on because I don't want to be the one leading in marriage. I want to be led. And so,
I think for me, I'm looking for someone with clarity. I feel like the biggest thing for me is, like, it's hard. Like, when guys are just like, do you want to hang out? I'm like, hang out as what? Is this a date? Or are we, like, hanging out as friends? Like, I need someone who's clear. And I feel like because generally I'm someone who's, like, a leader, like you're saying, I need someone who's, like, more of a leader than I am. And so I think the first thing I look for, even if they're not even a Christian, yes, they have to be Christian. But I mean, like, before even evaluating if they're a Christian, I'm looking for, like, are they intentional? Are they clear? So that's one of the biggest things for me.
That's huge. So good.
Yeah. So, yeah.
That will probably work out well.
Cool. All right, so the second question is, does attraction or chemistry matter? Why or why not? I feel like it kind of plays into this.
Mika, you need to start.
Yeah, Mika, you gotta start. She's like,
well, you kind of give it away. I was not actually attracted to Matthew at first. So if you guys have seen Grey's Anatomy, there's, like...
What?
Okay. I'm bringing it around.
Isn't that, like, the raunchiest TV show?
Yeah,
Where are you going with this?
I wasn't Christian when I watched it. But if you guys have seen it, right, there's, like, I don't know, it's like they're in a hospital, there are doctors working there, but, like, it's so much about dating.
It's who's sleeping with who.
Yeah, and okay, I don't understand how a hospital could be so, anyways, but so there was, like, this one doctor there that was, like, all the girls loved him, and they all
McDreamy.
So they nicknamed him McDreamy, and Matthew was, like, literally, like, the McDreamy of Jessup. Like, our freshman year, there were so many girls talking about him. Like, to this day, I'm sharing our love story, and people are like, oh yeah, you know, I knew this girl that was so head over heels for Matthew Klinsman, and she would, like, talk about him.
I was clueless to this, by the way. I'm just, like, doing ministry, playing soccer.
Yeah, because he's studying to be a pastor. He's, like, preaching at chapel. He's an athlete. He's a musician. Okay, he's super, like, gentle, friendly, everything, and he was, like, the McDreamy of Jessup. So I remember someone actually asking me, like, you don't think he's, like, hot? I'm like, no. And they're like, let me show you a picture. You don't think he's, like cute? And I'm like, I don't really see it, no, but I hope it works out for you.
They're gonna be seeing pictures of you.
I know. And so, like, I really did not find him attractive. I'm sorry, babe. But
it's all good.
Then,
I know she finds me attractive now, so.
No, I cannot stay off of him now. But
okay.
Whoa.
In marriage, they're married, guys.
All right, and with that, we're gonna transition.
So
Matthew scoots over.
But then, as I kept seeing him, right, and we kept, you know, just everything that I was kind of doing that I was convicted about, he was kind of just there. And that really attracted me to him because he was the one like, I'm a Calvinist. He was also the only Calvinist in prayer team. And then he wrote a paper on homosexuality and how it's sin, which I also believe that, and not a lot of Christians believe that when we see that in Romans 1, you know, and just a bunch of things like that. I always kind of found that he was the one that was like standing there with me, you know, when I was standing for things. And I think as I kept seeing that, I fell madly in love with him.
Yeah. It was like his character made you attracted to him.
Yeah. Yeah,
Dang.
exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I would just say, like, you're going to spend the rest of your life with this person.
Yeah.
And if you, like,
So
if
you
you
should
think
think they're
about...
hot.
No. Well, we're talking about...
Attraction.
I'm speaking more to chemistry.
Okay,
well,
yeah,
you
attraction.
asked about attraction, too. Yeah. No, yeah, I think attraction at some point has to come,
Yeah.
right? Maybe
Yeah,
it's
at
not
some
at
point.
first,
Yeah.
but it should come. And I think chemistry should be there,
Yeah.
like as soon as possible if you're
Yeah.
thinking that seriously.
Yeah.
But also chemistry takes time. Like you need to be friends with someone for a while. I'm not a huge fan of like impromptu like asking people on dates. I have tons of friends who do it. I don't condemn them. You know, guys who just go to coffee shops and they're like, "Oh, I met someone, and we're going out next Monday." It's like, okay. I'm not a huge fan of that. I think you
You're
should
more like
get to
friends
know.
lovers.
Yeah, that's more my speed, and I think what wisdom would say, but
Yeah, that's a good point, Matthew. You know, I think what's interesting is I feel like there's two extremes. Like you have the world that focuses so much on attraction and chemistry, and they're like, "Oh, he's hot. That's what matters." Like he might be dumb, he might be like not funny or whatever, but he's hot, so it's whatever. Yeah. And then you have Christians on one hand that's like, "Oh, I'm not even attracted to him, but he loves Jesus, so we're going out." And I'm like, "Whoa, that's another extreme." You know, I feel like there's just two extremes, and you've got to find yourself in the middle. I think is like, okay, yes, they love Jesus. That's what matters the most. But I think attraction should matter. It should play a part in it because ultimately, like, you're gonna get married to this person, right?
Yeah.
And you know, like, you should probably be attracted to the person you want to get
Yeah.
married
And
to.
definitely
Totally
like
agree.
attraction grows. Like the more you get
Yes.
to know someone, like it's like wow, this person is becoming more and more attractive. Like
Mhm.
that's like with my
It comes
sister
with-
and her boyfriend. Like she initially was like I wasn't attracted to him, but the more she got to know him, like he is so much more attracted to her, and it's just watching them. I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys are so cute.
Yeah.
But Matthew, you mentioned that like some of your friends like will meet someone and then they'll go on a date. Is it like online dating or is it like do they meet them in person? And like what are your thoughts on online dating? Your guys' thoughts on online dating as well, and kind of go from there.
yeah, I mean, I've always been hesitant of it and tend not to like encourage anyone if someone's like, "Oh, I'm lonely, like I want to." Like my first thing is not like, dude, get like Tinder. Like, what are you doing?
Get Tinder.
Like you're lonely. Fix the problem. Like I don't.
Yeah, that's good.
But at the same time, I mean, I think some people choose that, and some people find their spouses on there.
Christian mingle,
That's
not
cool.
Tinder.
Awkward.
Oh, is it? Yeah, I think Tinder. Maybe don't do Tinder. Yeah. So I'm not like, I'm not anchored in against it. I think some people have legitimately found their relationships on there, and that's great. I think it works for some people. I think my encouragement to anyone who does that is like, you just got to focus on the friendship. Like if you build a relationship just off of romance, it's going to fall apart.
Ooh.
If you don't actually enjoy
word.
being around them as a friend.
Yeah.
Like so much of our time together, like we're not even like being romantic, you know, like we're just laughing or
Sitting there on
joking or
phones.
talking about something that we have in common,
Yeah.
or just sitting on social media and
Yeah.
sending each other memes
Memes.
from like across the apartment.
I
Yeah.
love that.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
There-
think,
oh,
go ahead.
sorry, no, you go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say you made a point of like how just because you're lonely you shouldn't go on Tinder or Bumble. It's like I think in general you shouldn't date out of a place of loneliness. You know what I'm
Good.
saying? Like you don't want to date someone just because you're lonely. Like you're looking for the wrong person to fill your heart. You're looking for someone who's not going to satisfy you. Like Jesus is the only thing that can satisfy you. He's our creator, right?
Yeah.
In creation, often I think one of us made a point that we look to creation to satisfy us when we should be looking to the creator to satisfy us.
And Jesus
So.
says in John 14 that like in me you have life,
Yeah.
and it's like abundant life.
yeah.
Like without Jesus we don't have abundant life.
Yeah.
And so like we have to look to Jesus, and we have to find him, our joy, our fullness, our everything in him. And then from that, we could go out of that place. Yeah. And we could be like, Lord, I'm lonely, but I'm not going to go have a one-night stand or whatever. I'm going to go and be in community with people. And friendships. Friendships and family, church, whatever you need to fill you. Like, go and do that. So.
Speaking of community, Genesis 2, I've got the Bible. It's getting real. Genesis 2:18 says, "Then the Lord God said, 'It is not good that the man should be alone. I will make a helper fit for him.'" This is the first time that God says something is not good in the storyline of creation. It's the first time. But I wanted to make the point that this is actually not talking about marriage. Now, the pericope of this passage, it leads to marriage. It leads to God creating a woman to complement a man in the context of marriage. And he talks about they're naked and not ashamed. There's oneness, and that reflects Christ in the church eventually, all that stuff. But ultimately, this verse is talking about community. Like, it's not good that man should be alone. We're meant to be together with people. And one form of that is marriage. But the primary thing is community. And like you were saying, Hazel, dating out of a place of loneliness, you probably need to look to your community first to fill that loneliness. And of course, looking to God. What does God say about loneliness? What does God say about my life? How is God near to me? And then you can start.
That's good. It's like Scripture even says, like, he's close to the brokenhearted. In his presence, there's fullness of joy. Like, just we had to look to Scripture and look to the character of God. It's good.
I think another thing on online dating, I feel like this is the most natural way to meet believers. I'm just going to read from Acts 2. "And they devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and the fellowship, to the breaking of bread and the prayers. And awe came upon every soul, and many wonders and signs were being done through the apostles. And all who believed were together and had all things in common. And they were selling their possessions and belongings and distributing the proceeds to all as any had need. And day by day, attending the temple together and breaking bread in their homes, they received their food with glad and generous hearts, praising God and having favor with all people. And the Lord added to their number day by day those who were being saved." So kind of that natural, I guess, small group setting of you guys are studying God's word together, you're breaking bread together, you're serving for the Lord together, and he's blessing that. He's multiplying your numbers. He's bringing more and more into the church. People are getting saved. And as that happens, you're going to notice the people running alongside you, and those are going to be the ones that, okay, if this is the course of my life and the course of theirs, if we merge together, then our course is going to be the same. You know, I'm not changing my life and stepping away from my ministry to be with this person, you know. And so I feel like it's most easily to align with someone in that way. But if you do it through online dating, there's like this ton of, like, I feel like background checks you have to do to see, is this person really like on the same page as me, believing the same thing? What kind of church do they go to? What kind of, how do they treat their family? You know, what are their friendships like? Like, there's a lot you have to go through, I feel like, which could work to get to know someone. I've seen it work for people, but I think it's definitely, you might not be able to see everything online. So,
or it's going to take, in a sense, it might be longer because you're trying to assess all these things about the person, but, like, you're already dating, and that's what's, like, confuses it. Like, if you were friends first, you're assessing them just as friends, and so it's, like, not, their pressure's gone, but then if you're dating, I don't know, there's, like, more pressure in a sense, right? Does that make sense? Yeah. So, what are your thoughts?
I agree with everything you guys said. I personally wouldn't online date just because all my friends have had such bad experiences. A lot of them have been catfished, and it's just like,
totally.
I'm like, no, like, I need to know you. Without knowing you, I'm like, I judge. Like, I feel like I judge a person better if I talk to them and I see the body language versus just what they tell me, or what they say about themselves.
Oh, that's good. It's like you're looking at their actions and not just what they say.
Yeah, you got to find someone who's not performing, because then you're going to get to know them.
Okay, Matthew. That was good.
Leave it at that.
So how do you, I think a question to ask is, how do you know that they're not performing? Like, what do you, does that make sense? Because,
you don't. You literally don't. Sorry, like, even Paul Washer, if you guys are familiar with him, he's one of my favorite Bible teachers. He and his wife were literally already married, missionaries in Peru, when they found out she's not even saved.
What?
Paul, news to you guys too. Like, again, Paul Washer's wife wasn't saved, and that's Paul Washer. All he talks about is, "Are you really saved?
He's
Do
like
you
a
know
pastor.
Jesus?" You know, and he's like screaming in his sermon. He talks loudly in his sermons about like, how do you really know you're saved? And that's like what he's known for.
Yeah.
And then he finds out this woman he's married to isn't even saved. Imagine like dating someone, being married to them on missionary, and she's like the front lines in Peru, like roughing it in ministry, and she's not saved. And so she ended up being saved. She heard a sermon, repented, and everything like that. They discovered that later in their marriage. But if Paul Washer can't even tell, like, really do you think you can, and I think with Matthew in a lot of ways, I think for both of us actually in a lot of ways, we were, like, he was super well known in his church at Jessup. I was super well known in my church.
And you went to my church. You came to my pastor.
Yeah.
You got coffee, or no, was it?
I got coffee with.
You got coffee with my pastor and asked him about me.
Oh my God.
I think my pastor initiated because he wanted to get to know you, but you took that opportunity to be like, okay, so does Matthew struggle with, like?
Yeah.
I don't know what you asked him actually. You just told me that you had that
That's
conversation
and I was doing all my background checks and everything, but
I did the same thing with her friend too.
Yeah, it was great. But I feel like at the end of the day, like, you can't know someone until you get into it, like, ultimately, if they're performing or not.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, Mika. I think that ultimately you're going to know someone by their fruits. And scripture says that. So in Matthew 7, it says this: "Beware of false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly are ravenous wolves. You will recognize them by their fruits." And then it talks about how a healthy tree bears good fruit and a diseased tree bears bad fruit. And a healthy tree cannot bear good fruit. And a diseased tree cannot, and a diseased tree cannot bear good fruit. And so every tree that does not bear good fruit is cut down, thrown into the fire, blah, blah, blah. Thus you will recognize them by their fruit. Like, ultimately, you're going to know someone's a believer if they bear fruit. And I think that's how you're going to assess, like, does this person have the qualities or whatever.
And specifically when you say fruit, you mean fruits of the Spirit. So peace, joy, patience.
Yeah. Like everything in Galatians talks about love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control.
Yeah, so I think to build on that, like, I definitely agree. And I think that's why it's so hard with perfectionism or performing, which is something me and Matthew both really struggle with. It's hard to tell, like, are they just putting on this, like, kind of... And people don't, like, I didn't realize I was even doing this till the past year, right? Like, I don't... When you're... Okay, if you're a Christian and you're not feeling it, you don't feel like being a Christian, you don't feel like obeying the Lord that day, are you going to just disobey or are you going to obey? You're going to discipline yourself to keep obeying. But if you're for so long living your life, not just a day, but you're living your life with, you're lacking in your relationship with Jesus, you're not abiding in him, and then you just know the rules and you're just following them and forcing yourself to do that, it gets to a point where that's not abiding, that's not producing genuine fruit. That's just you knowing the right things to do, doing them, and it appears you're being patient. It appears like Paul Washer and his wife, like, she was in the front lines in ministry, like, he told stories of her, like, roughing it in Peru and doing all this to spread the gospel. People. And she was doing amazing things, and it appears like that person has so much fruit, but when you get to know that person, do they have, like, joy, patience, goodness, or do they just force themselves to appear that way? It's very hard to tell. I think it really has to just come with knowing someone. And
the Lord is so gracious to reveal that and then call you closer into relationship with him. And then you're not focused on your works all the time. I think that's what it does.
It kind of reminded me of when Jesus is talking in Matthew 13, the parable of the sower. And sorry, I was gonna say sawyer. But it's like he just says like the seeds will fall and like the birds will come and devour, the evil one will come. But like those who those who actually are living out the word will like produce fruit and will like bring people to salvation and like they will actually remain in their faith. And I think it's just so powerful, like knowing that God will convict that person and eventually save them even if they're faking it.
Yes.
Like Matthew said, it's the grace of God and it's God's mercy on us. Like at the end of the day, like we won't be faking it, but like God's like, okay, you have faked it so long.
Yeah, his kindness is going to draw us to repentance and soften our heart. And some people, I mean, they just might keep being legalists and not come to Jesus, you know, but some might. And I feel like if someone's genuinely trying, like you're not going to genuinely keep seeking the Lord and he's going to deny you.
You get tired.
Yeah.
You just
You
get
get
tired
so
and
worn
you're
out.
like, am I even a Christian? Do I want to be
Yeah.
a Christian? And then that's when the change.
I feel like
Search
that's not
the
the
Lord.
promises of God. Like God's promise in Jeremiah 29:11, it's like seeking me and finding me when you
Yes.
seek me with all your heart.
Yeah.
If you're actually
Yeah.
seeking,
Yeah.
you're not just trying to fake it, but you're actually seeking.
Yeah.
Christ.
Of course. Yeah.
That's good.
God looks at the heart. We might look at the appearance,
But God looks at the heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang. And he hopefully
Story of
sanctifies
David.
us
Yeah.
to look at other people's heart and not at their appearance.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, full circle.
Ooh.
That's good.
Yeah, there's two types of trees.
Mm-hmm.
There's only two. It's like
Wow.
it's actually, I think we have on one level we have permission to judge people, not in a final sense, but if you're looking at deciding who you want to date, who you want to marry, you need to be pretty hardcore about that.
Yeah, that's good.
Love the passage you guys brought up.
Yeah, it's good.
Well, as we're kind of talking about dating,
Mm-hmm.
so what was like the process of dating for you guys?
Yeah,
like
It's
what
gonna
did
be a
that
long
look?
one.
Like, how'd you move from singleness to dating to marriage? Because I
Yeah.
feel like that's always been kind of confusing to me. I'm like, how does that even work? Like,
It's gonna be a long
you guys
one.
brought up like Matthew when Matthew was asking you like, out and like
Yeah.
how did you like okay like I'm gonna ask her out and like what I know you guys kind of both share like your guys' dating like season of dating was really hard.
Yeah.
Like what made that hard? How did you kind of get through that and then get to the point of like be like
I'm
okay
gonna
I'm
get
gonna
married. He's the one.
yeah
Yeah.
I'm gonna get married.
You go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Wow.
Take the wheel.
Sweet.
Let me get my coffee.
Yeah, get your drinks now. Get
like-
comfy.
All right.
Yeah, I think the way that I wanted to be super clear. I didn't want there to be, like you were saying, like I didn't want there to be confusion.
That's
And
good.
so I really, I think, spelled out, which is actually funny because a day after I asked her out, she was like, "So is Saturday a date?" I was
Oh
like,
my
I
God.
thought I made that clear, but
I needed him to use the word date.
Period.
because I think I said I want to take you out for coffee,
Yeah.
but you wanted me to use the word
date,
date,
that's
which I
good.
totally get.
Leaders take away confusion.
Take away
Yeah,
confusion.
leadership
Yes.
confusion.
Yes.
Oh, come on. JP again.
Yeah. So anyway, but the point that I did communicate was like, I like you and I want to move out of friendship and into something else, which we know biblically that there actually isn't a category for dating, right? There's it's not as if you can actually enter into a different kind of relationship when you're dating. There's no extra privilege in Christian dating. It's simply the way I view dating is it's a cultural construct that we can participate in. You don't have to participate in it. There's other ways that you can find a spouse.
Arranged marriage.
Exactly. It worked for thousands of years. So, but anyway, yeah. So I just said, hey, I like you. I think you're a woman of God, and I want to take you out to coffee. And I think what I said was I want to get to know you more.
Yeah.
'Cause I still didn't know you very well. We had talked, and I had kind of evaluated you, but I really wanted to get to know her more. And yeah, I think that was, I really tried to keep that the focus for dating. But what I will say is that one of my regrets is that we actually went really, really fast. So
Okay. I feel like what do you mean like went fast?
So what I mean is that I think there were conversations that we were having that we didn't need to be having. So I think it was 2 months in, we were having talks about what does this look like financially if we're going to get married.
That was me.
Yeah, you brought that up.
It's a
And
business major in you, Mika.
right.
Yeah.
And there's a space for like, hey,
100% you should.
what's your long-term plan?
Right. But at 2 months, you're like.
At 2 months in, I was like, I'm just trying to finish college, man. Like, I don't know, okay?
Yeah, I wouldn't take away any of the like being intentional towards marriage.
Totally.
I wouldn't take that away, but yeah, in terms of planning and actually making it happen.
Yeah.
Or maybe when in the season of dating you do have that question.
It depends. Like, it depends on everyone. If you're 30, you're moved out, you're both financially stable, and you guys you know each other already, okay, why not get married in, like, a few months? Why not, you know? But if you're...
I slightly disagree.
If you're, if you meet at 16, you know, and you guys
don't get married in a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't know, like, you don't know each other yet. You don't have your careers, like,
started.
And I'm not saying you have to have your careers fully there yet, but you can't even provide for yourself, so you guys wouldn't even be able to move out, which some people don't. You know, they live at home with their families. Like, I know people who, like, get together when they're, like, 13, and they somehow last until they're 18, and then they just, like, itching to get married.
They were getting married, and then
at home with their family, and I was like, well, no, because I know people
that happens too.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Because they're just, like, so burning with passion, because I don't recommend dating for, like, many years. I do not recommend that at all. 2 years was already, like, it's difficult to wait, especially if you're doing long distance. Like, I know a couple, he was in the Army, you know, so they were completely separate, and so they got married after, like, I think 10 plus years. Because they also met super, super, super young. Yeah. Like 13 is what I'm talking about. And so there's different situations for everyone, but in general, if you're around someone all the time, you guys are in a position to get married, you know they're the one, you have peace with it, you have the family's blessing, like, why are you waiting? Yeah. Why are you waiting? So.
Yeah, and going back to, you know, kind of one of really my regrets of how I led our relationship, and how we got to that point where we were going too fast. And what I mean by too fast is, I think we were at a point where it was like the whole relationship was just geared toward, should we get married? And if so, when? And that was like every conversation and all of our thought processes. And I really wish that I'd led us more in a way to focus on getting to know each other.
Yeah, like you should have peace about if you want to marry them or not before you guys start planning for marriage.
Wow. But are you still more like have fun, like enjoy getting to know each other without the pressure of like
have fun, get to know each other, be yourself.
That's good.
And wait for those conversations as long as you can, but don't put it off when it comes. Yeah. And I think it comes to that point too.
Yeah, just because 2 years was very long from the time he first asked me out to the day we were married. It was like 2 years and a week. That was very long to wait for. We were together all day, every day.
And I feel like with so many people, like the case that you mentioned is rare. Yeah. Most people who are waiting a long time to get married don't understand the importance of marriage. They don't value it.
Yeah. Wow.
They want to...
Don't value purity.
Yeah, they're...
Overestimate themselves.
There's a plethora of reasons, but it's like, if you're a Christian, coming from a Christian point of view, you understand that marriage is the end goal, right? And
in dating, in terms of dating.
Yeah, in dating. Correct. Yeah.
Not in life.
The end goal of life is to no. No, but like, and even in the physical sense, right? Like, having sex is meant for marriage, and when you're dating, you don't get that privilege. So guys, you don't get to touch her any way you want, and girls, you either. And I think that's like. We live in this culture where there's just this gray, muddy ground where you can kind of dip your foot into marriage. How close can I get? It's like, what kind of a question is that, you know?
Yeah. This is your brother. What are you talking about?
And like me and Hazel talked about in our last video, it's like, it literally says like, submit to God and flee from the devil. Like, don't play with fire and expect not to get burned.
Yeah, that's good.
Like, you guys will get burnt. And like, when you like play, like, oh yeah, we're just like playfully messing around, or we're just like kissing and stuff. Like, no, that could lead to sex.
Yeah, once that gets awakened, it's hard to wait until you guys have your careers off the ground to wait, you know. But if you guys are like pacing yourself and you keep high boundaries because you know you're gonna date for a long time, like
and we'll talk about that too. I wanted to bring up a scripture in 1 Corinthians 7. It talks about the principles of marriage. It says in verse 8, "To the unmarried and widows, I say that it is good for them to remain single as I am. But if they cannot exercise self-control, they should marry. For it is better to marry than to burn with passion." And like I see your guys' point. I see Paul's point too. And it's like, I understand the idea of like, we should practice self-control. And in dating, if you keep it quick, you can, not practice self-control. It's like, it's easier to just get married. But the way I see it, and I think I kind of disagree in the sense of getting married super quick. I'm more a proponent of date longer, get to know them really well, because you're living with this person for the rest of your life. Like, this is a commitment, and this the one choice that you make that is going to impact the rest of your life. So I more err on the caution of being careful and like evaluating them longer.
Yeah.
Totally.
And I think it's a process of learning self-control, because if we just get married with this person just because I can't practice self-control, that's on me.
Yeah.
It's an opportunity for me to practice self-control. If I can't practice self-control in dating, I'm not going to practice self-control in marriage.
Yeah.
So I'd rather
other areas of life
yeah.
too.
So I'd rather train that, I guess, in dating.
Yeah.
That's so
I guess
good.
it's how you
I love
define
that.
super quick, because I think 2 years is more than enough time to get to know someone, especially if you're not doing long distance. Like you guys are just dating. That's more than enough time.
How do you define super quick? Like what to you would
She
be?
said, oh wait.
I think 2 years is a good amount of time. Like I feel like we could have got married if we were financially there, we're out of school. I think we could have got married at a year and a half just fine, to be honest. It takes time with planning a wedding, however you want to do it. Girls want like a spring wedding, a fall wedding.
Let me plan the engagement based on when I'm gonna
like it really, you could do it in like a year and a half.
Yeah.
I feel it just depends on the couple. Yeah, but for us, I think
And we've kind of
Yeah.
talked about how like if we actually did that, there would have been a lot of pain
there were
because we were
been
not in a
hard.
healthy place.
Right.
And that's where I come to this place of like, even as I have these strong opinions, I don't know what's right for everyone.
Yeah. 100%.
Like,
Yeah, it
for some
really,
people-
really
It's
depends
not
on the
blanket
person.
statement.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
It might take longer to get to know someone for
Yeah.
some people.
Yeah.
For others, it might be like, yo, we're super aligned.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
let's
It's not gonna take long.
finish out this season. Let's really get to know each other.
Yeah.
But then it's quicker, so it's
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
But I really like what you said, Hazel, about the focus of self-control. And I don't want to imply that
Yes.
dating is this place where we're just kind of waiting around for marriage. There's more intention behind it for sure.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
good. Yeah. So just continuing as your story.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
So so yeah, I asked her that. Want to get to know her more. Kind of started going really fast. It was really good. It was really fun. We were serving together,
Yeah.
which I think was super valuable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think one of the things with dating in college is like we were always around each other.
Yeah.
It's like there's
And it's a
no
small
morning
school,
till night
too.
in class, in ministry,
Yeah.
doing homework. We had the same friend group. Then he would be with my family. I would be with his family.
I think our friends were even like, "Do you guys like have other friends, or do you guys just spend time with each other?"
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, "Shoot, like I don't know."
I feel like when they started dating, 'cause I feel like when they started dating, I'm like, I don't see them anymore. Like
Yep.
all their friend group would be upstairs in the library and we hang out, and then Mika and Matthew would come in like for like a few minutes, and then they'd leave, and I'm like,
Yeah. Where did they
you know,
go?
which
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. When you're dating someone, you just want to be around them by yourself.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like, I understand
Yeah.
that, but yeah.
But no, it's like you can miss out on those other friendships
Yeah.
that
You miss out on
That's
a
good.
lot.
that are around you. But yeah, I think there's that, and then where do we go from there?
Go from where?
From dating to
So,
engagement.
Yeah, from dating to engagement. But how was your experience in our dating season? And you want to talk about the conversation that we had?
Oh,
The turning point?
You should talk about that.
You should talk about that.
What conversation are you talking about?
9 months.
Oh, yeah.
So
They're like,
I'll
"Nine-month
start.
Conversation.
she wants me to talk about it. Well, so we were dating for a while, and
Nice.
it started to, yeah, that's such a good point. It started to come up that I was having some issues with depression. And so I kind of entered this season. Really, I didn't know how to process failure. It was like anytime I failed, I was like, gosh, the whole world like caved in emotionally, and I felt super insecure. And that was like, I would say the first year was super, super difficult for us.
I'd say, yeah, the first 6 months was
For 6 months was miserable. Yeah.
extremely intense in terms of his depression. And then my anxiety kept arising, and that was like so intense. Actually, throughout our whole relationship, even in an engagement, my anxiety was pretty intense. But then I think we started to come out of it, and I'd say at about 9 months, that was like the breaking point. And that's when I had a talk with him of, it was a hard
She
talk.
told me I was emotionally unstable.
Yeah, I was like, dude, like, you need
And
to,
that was
like,
what I needed to hear.
yeah, like, do you understand, like, this is, I understand you're, like, growing from this. You can't just turn off your depression, like, what? But I was just like, do you understand, like, the told this place is on me.
Yeah.
And like how our relationship is going right now because you're struggling with this. Like this is hard for me. I just need you to know that. And I think that was the first time because I don't want to make him feel bad. Like if he's already feeling bad,
Right.
what do I get? Yeah, what do I want to do? Make him feel worse? Because tell him now I'm feeling bad too.
Yeah.
But
And that's the thing is like the other person's problems become your problems.
Yeah, I was gonna say your baggage also affects the other people. So fix your baggage while you're single.
Well, that's the thing because his baggage didn't really come out as much when he was single. It kind of was triggered a little bit by dating.
Oh, that's good too.
Yeah. But I think I agree, but also part of it was like I struggled with performance because anytime I failed, I couldn't process it. I couldn't handle it. And so going into dating, I wanted to perform really well. I wanted to be a good boyfriend and lead her well. And I think that pressure like amplified my depression. And then your anxiety of like, is this going to work out?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I feel like you're going to break up with me. I feel like we're going to break up.
Yeah.
You were like having dreams about us breaking up.
Both of so his depression and my anxiety, they were tied to being in a relationship and like relational anxiety and depression. So when we got into one, that's when it kind of all came out.
So, yeah, it was that 9-month conversation that really illuminated, like, I feel like what were our deepest and biggest, like, issues and baggage.
Yeah.
And you were dealing with anxiety about me and about our relationship lasting.
Well,
and
that was a lot
with what
of
I was going through.
my baggage separated, like my
for sure.
because I had never seen a godly marriage that was, a healthy marriage even that stayed together. All the marriages I had seen growing up, divorce, abuse, death, multiple marriages, that was not unusual for me to see. Lots of conflict, and the conflict would lead just to division rather than the couple being closer together. That's something I'd literally never seen. Even in friendships, I hadn't seen that. So that was a source a lot of my anxiety. Are we going to stay together? Is he going to die? Am I going to die? I was so bad.
Yeah.
So.
And then I think as a result of that, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you started to pick out problems that I had and name them as a reason for why our relationship might not last.
Yeah, and that was just my anxiety taking that way too far. So.
Yeah. Wow. And then I was like, well, shoot, like I feel like a failure now. And then I would be in depression. So it's just this cycle.
Wow.
Just taking failure and sin too seriously, I'd say. And then I came out for me in anxiety and for him in depression. And we didn't really know how to process all of that. Conflict, we didn't know how to process trials, hardship.
What was the turning point for you, do you think?
It was that 9-month conversation. I don't know. This is complete grace. Like, I've been praying for so long about this. And there are so many, I think I've touched on this a little bit. There are so many times where I thought about breaking up with him, and even times where he thought of breaking up with me, because it would just be simpler and easier. But I'd keep praying because I really didn't want to, and the Lord would give me peace to stay again and again and again. So I was like, I never pulled the trigger. I never did it. And eventually we had that 9-month conversation, and I don't know what happened, but you like just sucked in your depression and then just left. I don't know. Like
Kind of.
God healed you.
Yeah, like I literally, because it never it's been like almost a year and a half, maybe 2 years now, and it hasn't come back. So, and
I don't even think, because the depression, I got counseling for that.
Yes.
And so I learned how to process failure.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think
kind of growing out of that. That was all throughout this whole process. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I think the issue that the 9-month conversation resolved was my emotional instability. Not just depression, but like any emotion would just overtake me. And I would look to her and like share my emotion and look for some comfort, affirmation.
Yeah.
But she couldn't. I mean, you're not God. You can't
do
that for me.
Don't
Dang.
idolize your partner.
Don't idolize,
Say it again?
Don't idolize your partner.
Yeah.
Totally.
Wow. It's like sometimes you run to the partner instead of God.
Yeah.
Totally.
Dang.
But
That's good, guys.
that kind of is what changed it for me. And then from there, I think we were really on a healthy path. At that point, I got counseling. We did premarital counseling twice. And so we were just a lot of counsel, a lot of mentorship, a lot of community. We had those foundations of how to deal with failure, how to apply the gospel to our lives, our beliefs about sanctification really being solidified. and then from there being able to grow alongside each other, communicating in a healthy way, knowing our triggers and everything, and working through them, keep bringing them to the Lord. The Lord was healing them over time. Eventually he proposed to me. That was at like a year and 9 months. And then he did that at Stinson Beach. Stinson Beach. It was like half forest, half beach. It was like overlooking by this like swing.
It was gonna be a surprise. One of our friends
kind of
gave
ruined
it away.
it.
Not one of these two.
But
Okay, but I do want to say.
And it's okay, by the way. I'm not mad. If you're watching this, Nicole.
Nicole. But I remember she was like, she just thought it was going to be a regular trip. And she was like, no, I'm going to wear sweatpants. I was like, Mika, you're not going to wear sweatpants.
Yeah, and that's what kind of like started giving it, because I was like,
be so sad. Imagine you went there and he proposed to you in sweatpants.
Because he had photographers,
Like,
videographers, like he was all dressed up, he had this whole backdrop. And so it was a girls' trip, actually. Shout out to my maid of honor, Lara. I gave her the hardest time about me going on this trip. I actually got into a huge fight with Lara because she was trying to get me on this trip, and I was like, I need a Sabbath. I'm so tired. I don't want to go to San Francisco with you again. Like, and she was like forcing me. She like literally rolled on the floor and started throwing a fit. Like, I'm like, who does that? And I was like, this girl is so disrespectful. And then I stopped talking to her. It was this whole thing.
But anyway, she got engaged.
Yeah.
And it was
she eventually got me there.
The pictures and the outfit and the nails, everything.
It was perfect,
It was going to work out.
Yeah, and then married at the 2 years and 1 week mark. It was beautiful.
Yeah, it was so cute.
Yeah, marriage. Yay.
How's marriage going for you guys?
Yeah.
So
how many months are you guys married now? Wait.
3, 4. It's been 4. Wow.
Nice.
Been by
That's
fast.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I think
How's marriage going?
it's hard in all the ways I didn't think it'd be that hard, and it's easy in all the ways I thought it'd be
true.
hard.
Yeah.
Like working full time, cooking, cleaning, all that, so much to manage, so hard to do right now. But in terms of everything I was anxious about, like the Lord really he has bought unity for believers. Like we have nothing to worry about in terms of conflict or being able to work things out or anything that we need to work on as partners. So all those things have been so smooth. Yeah, honestly. But
Yeah, I think just household chores. We're both working full time.
that is like the hardest part. That's literally
like meal prepping.
It's so crazy.
Yeah.
I meal prepped last week. She usually does it, but I did it last week and just cooked for like the whole week.
Yeah, right.
So I probably cooked like 15 meals, packed them, you know.
Yeah.
I'm just like I've never done that before. You know, I've never lived on my own before I got married, so you had a little bit more experience there.
Right.
But other than that, I mean, the Lord's just been really good.
Yeah.
So.
I think what's so cool about your guys' story in terms of like the timeline, I was saying like I'd want to date longer and you guys like dated pretty quick. I think one thing that was good for you guys was you guys had so many trials. So you guys were able to like work through that together.
Yeah.
And the reason for me, I think like I like the idea of dating longer is because you have more time to work through trials. Because I feel like most people don't have trials in that first 5 months.
Literally in the first 3 days of our relationship.
But the first 3 days,
like,
you guys had
bam,
trials. Exactly.
Yeah.
So like for you guys had those trials earlier on.
Yeah.
So it was okay.
The Lord said, "You want speed? I'll give you speed."
Yeah, I'll give you speed. So yeah, I think it was good. You guys got to work through that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, thank you for watching the first part of this series. We will be having a second part coming out. Until then, you guys could check us out on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. That's it. And then, as always, we have those linked below. And then anything that we have talked about in this video, we'll also link it below.
Yes.
So until next time, sweet friends, grace and peace.
Bye.